Welcome to tonight's video on Unit 8, Part 3, talking about special right triangles. There are two types of special right triangles. There is what's called a 45-45-90. That's where both non-right angles are congruent. So we have the two legs and we have the hypotenuse, and in this case, the legs are equal to the same thing. So we'll say they're equal to A, and then the hypotenuse is the square root of 2 times A. So if you have a 45-45-90 and you know one of the legs, right, because 9 is a leg, then the hypotenuse is A rad 2. So since A is 9, that's equal to 9 square root of 2. Here the leg is 8 rad 2, so x is equal to a rad 2, so it's equal to 8 rad 2 times rad 2, and rad 2 times rad 2 is rad 4, which is 2, so 8 times 2 is 16. So go ahead and try the next two on your own. All right, so then these two, so here the A is 6 rad 2, and the hypotenuse is going to be the square root of 2 times A, so 6 rad 2 times rad 2 gives you 6 times 2, which is 12. And here the leg is 7, so the hypotenuse is 7 times rad 2, which is 7 rad 2. All right, so here we want to find both A and B. So here B is a leg. So since we know A rad 2 is equal to 6, all we have to do is divide. So if we say A rad 2 is equal to 6, we divide by rad 2 to get A equals 6 over rad 2. Now remember, when we're dealing with radicals, we always want to rationalize the denominator, which means we multiply the top and bottom by rad 2. So we get 6 rad 2 over 2, and the 2 and the 6 cancel, so it's equal to 3 rad 2. So B is 3 rad 2. Same thing for 33. We know that A rad 2 is equal to 8, divide by rad 2. So A is equal to 8 over rad 2, so you rationalize the denominator. So it's 8 rad 2 over 2, which is equal to 4 rad 2. The next type of special right triangle is what's called the 30-60-90. And 30-60-90 is a little different because it has the shorter leg, which is across from the 30 degrees. It has the longer leg, which is across from the 60, and it has the hypotenuse, which is across from the right angle. The shorter leg is what we call A. The longer leg is the square root of 3 times A, and the hypotenuse is 2 times A. So here in 34, we know that A is equal to 4 rad 3 over 3. So Y is going to equal A times rad 3, because, actually, sorry, Y is the hypotenuse, so it's 2 times A, which means it's 2 times 4 rad 3 over 3, which means it's 8 rad 3 over 3. For X, that's A rad 3, so that's equal to 4 rad 3 over 3 times rad 3. Rad 3 times rad 3 is 3, and times 4 is 12 over 3, which is equal to 4. So X is 4, and Y is 8 rad 3 over 3. 35, BC is the hypotenuse. We'll call that x. So x is equal to 2a. But in this case, we know that this is 60. So across from the 60 is the 4 rad 3. So we know a rad 3 is equal to 4 rad 3. So if we divide by rad 3, we get a equals 4. So that means the smallest leg is 4, which means the hypotenuse is 2 times 4, which is 8. Alright, a quilt has the design shown in the figure in which a square is divided into 8 isosceles right triangles. Isosceles right triangle meaning 45, 45, 90. If the length of one side of the square is 3 inches, what are the dimensions of each triangle? So the one side is 3 inches, which means if you do half, that's 3 halves and 3 halves. And then the hypotenuse would be 3 rad 2 over 2. So if you're looking for the lengths, the dimensions of each triangle, they are 3 halves, and 3 rad 2 over 2. Shayna designed 2 identical bookends according to the diagram. Use special right triangles to find the height of the bookends. Well, you have a 30, 60, 90. And that means a is equal to 5. So x is equal to a rad 3. So it's equal to 5 rad 3 inches. Find x and y. So this is a 30, 60, 90. Right now you know the hypotenuse, so you know 2a is 32. So a is equal to 16. So that's x, 16, because that's across from the 30. Y is then 16 rad 3, because y would be a rad 3. 39, the diagonal of a square is 15 rad 2. So if you have a square, right, that means you have a 45, 45, 90. The diagonal is 15 rad 2. That's the hypotenuse. So it wants to find the perimeter, so you need to know the length of the side. So a rad 2 equals 15 rad 2. So therefore when you divide by rad 2, you get a is 15. So since one side is 15 centimeters, times 4 means the perimeter is 60 centimeters. The hypotenuse of a 30, 60, 90 triangle is 20 rad 3 inches. What are the lengths of the legs? Well, 2a is equal to 20 rad 3, which means when you divide by 2, you get a is equal to 10 rad 3. So that means one of them is 10 rad 3, and then a rad 3 would be 10 rad 3 times rad 3. 10 times 3 gives you 30. So the legs are 10 rad 3 inches and 30 inches. All right, 41, the side of an equilateral triangle is 21 inches. Find the length of the altitude of the triangle. So you want to find A here. And remember, equilateral means equiangular. So that means it's a 30, 60, 90. 21 is the hypotenuse. So this is 21 halves, because it's half of 21. So then the altitude would be 21 rad 3 over 2, because it's rad 3 bigger than the shorter leg. So it's 21 rad 3 over 2 inches. All right, so that concludes our video for this evening. Part 4 coming up.